Hey, come on in, grab a seat. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me for this explainer today. Think of me as your personal UX mentor, and we're going to treat this as your crucial first coaching session as a brand new AI product manager. You are stepping into a genuinely exciting role, but building products powered by AI, yeah, it's a totally different beast than traditional software. It's no longer just about shipping a bunch of cool features. What you're really doing now is managing human psychology.
So, let me kick things off by asking you kind of a provocative question right out of the gate. Why do most AI products fail? Seriously, take a second and think about it. Whenever I ask new PMs this, they almost always jump straight to a technical issue. They think, oh, the models are too slow, or the tech isn't there yet, or the training data is just garbage. But the reality? It's actually much more fascinating, and honestly, it's completely within your control.
The real reason these AI products just crash and burn in the market comes down to exactly this. Users don't trust the output enough, or they trust it way too much. That's the whole ballgame right there. It is a fundamental design failure, and it is rooted entirely in trust. If they don't trust your AI, well, they'll just abandon it. But if they trust it blindly, they get hurt by those inevitable errors, and then they abandon it. So setting the perfect level of trust is the foundation for literally everything we're going to tackle in today's masterclass.
Okay, let's dive right into our syllabus for today. First, we'll look at the AI trust problem. Then, calibrating trust. Number 3, designing beyond happy paths. 4, user research for AI. And finally, number 5, avoiding common AI mistakes. Let's get to work. All right, Section 1, the AI trust problem, where we look at foundational UX principles for AI.
Building user trust doesn't just magically happen, and it certainly doesn't happen just because you've got a super clever back-end model. You've got to adopt these 5 core UX principles right from the jump. In the design phase, these actually come straight from Microsoft Design Team's guidelines. First up, communicate limits. Basically, users should never, ever be surprised by what your AI can or can't do. Just tell them up front. Second, easy verification. Always give your users a quick way to double-check the AI's output before it actually takes any action. Third, explain uncertainty. Look, if the AI is guessing, show that it's guessing. Don't let it masquerade a total guess as a hard fact. Fourth, provide global controls, so users can just turn things off or tweak behaviors. And fifth, support graceful failure, which we are going to dive into much deeper in just a bit. Burn these into your brain, they are your new golden rules.
Moving right along to Section 2, calibrating trust, and a little concept I call the speedometer. Now, I want you to pay really close attention here because we're shifting to the absolute most important concept you'll take away today, trust calibration. If you're an AI product manager, this is your primary job, period. It's all about designing experiences that help users develop an accurate level of trust based on what your AI can actually do in reality, not what some sci-fi movie or their own wild imagination tells them it can do. Your interface literally has to teach the user when to lean in and when to pump the brakes and be skeptical. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we mean. Let's use a speedometer analogy. Think about the concept of over-reliance. Imagine driving down the highway and your speedometer is totally broken. It always reads 60 miles per hour no matter how fast you're actually driving. If you blindly trust it, you are going to crash. Full stop. That is exactly what happens when users over-rely on AI and trust its hallucinations. But on the flip side, we have under-reliance. If you know that speedometer's busted, you might just stop looking at your dashboard entirely. You end up ignoring a genuinely helpful system, and for your product, that means commercial failure. Our job is to perfectly calibrate that trust to matchinality.
Let's shift to Section 3 and see how this builds into designing beyond happy paths, specifically focusing on error states.
So theory is great and all, but as a PM, you need to know how to design for gritty reality. A huge trap I see beginners fall into is obsessing solely over the happy path. Designing for that magical moment where the user types the absolute perfect prompt and the AI spits out a flawless result. We all love it when it works perfectly, but here is the stark reality. AI products fail constantly out in the wild. Those real-world error states, that is where you will actually earn your paycheck. You have to ask yourself, what exactly does the experience look like when the AI hallucinates, or times out, or just spits out absolute nonsense?
This is where a brilliant little concept called graceful degradation swoops in to save the day. Step 1 is simple acceptance. You have to anticipate that the AI will fail. It's a statistical model. Failure is literally inevitable. Step 2 is preventing that specific failure from bringing down your entire system. And Step 3 is crucial. Provide safe alternative output pathways. For example, if the AI suddenly can't summarize a massive document, you gracefully degrade by just offering a basic keyword search instead. Don't leave them hanging with a blank screen and a little frowny face icon. You have to guide them safely back to shore.
All right, shifting gears to Section 4, User Research for AI. This is all about observing behavior.
Building the right thing requires really deeply observing human behavior. You can't just throw darts and guess what users need from an AI. Keep this quote in mind, it's absolutely crucial. Users often don't know what they want from AI until they've used it. Because of that, traditional user research, like sending out a survey that says, hey, what AI features would you like to see, it just does not work here. Users literally can't imagine what this tech is fully capable of. You have to put a prototype in their hands and watch what happens.
So to do that, you're going to rely on 3 essential observational methods. First is contextual inquiry. Basically, you just quietly watch users do their actual day job and you look for the moments where they stumble or get frustrated. Second is think aloud testing. You have users literally narrate their inner monologue out loud while they try your AI feature. I cannot overstate how valuable this is. You get these immediate, priceless signals like, wait, where did that number come from? Yeah, I definitely don't trust this. And the third method is diary studies, where users log their interactions with your product over a few weeks. Because trust isn't built in a single day, right? A diary study tracks whether their trust is naturally growing or if it's slowly eroding over time.
To actually put this into practice, here is a highly practical framework for structuring your next user interview plan. This is an absolutely essential hands-on skill you need to master. You'll want to map out these 4 columns for, say, a 5-person study. Clearly define your target audience. Then, pick your specific research method. Maybe you go with think aloud testing. Next, note the user context. Are they sitting calmly at their desk? Are they frantically rushing to meet a deadline? And finally, your script focus. What specific interactions are you actively looking for to see if they trust the system? When you structure your research exactly like this, you guarantee that you're capturing real, actionable data, not just vague opinions.
So the crucial point is, we need to talk about Section 5, avoiding common AI mistakes. Let's look at some hidden traps.
Getting an AI product out into the real world is honestly like walking through a minefield of hidden traps. So let me give you some stark warnings. Mistake number 1, skipping error state design. I know we already touched on this, but I literally cannot stress it enough. If you only design for the moments when things go perfectly, you are building a painfully fragile product. The quality, the empathy, and the actual helpfulness of your error states will often single-handedly decide whether a frustrated user stays on your platform or rage quits and uninstalls your app forever. Moving on to mistake number 2, asking, what do you want from AI way too early in the process? Like we talked about, doing this just leads to wishful sci-fi thinking. They'll ask for magic wands. Instead of asking the user to basically do your job and design the product for you, just observe what causes friction in their day. Ask them things like, what took the longest to do today? Or what task completely drained your energy? Find that real-world problem and solve it with AI, instead of just bolting on some flashy feature that nobody actually asked for.
And mistake number 3, treating accessibility as just a legal checkbox or some kind of a compliance theater. Truly great UX means deep, genuine inclusion. I always point to the Microsoft Inclusive Design Toolkit as the absolute gold standard for this. Look, if your AI isn't easily accessible to people with diverse abilities, you are straight up failing a massive chunk of your user base. Committing to inclusive design forces you to make the product better, more intuitive, and clearer for absolutely everyone. It's a total win-win.
Wow, we have covered a ton of ground today, right? From those core UX principles to the harsh realities of error states and the nitty-gritty of user research. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative challenge to take back to your desk. Take a hard look at the interface you are building right this second and ask yourself, is your AI product actually earning the right amount of trust? Not too much, not too little. If you can master that calibration, you're not just going to build a functional AI product, you're going to build a wildly successful one. Thanks so much for diving into this with me, and hey, good luck out there.